you were in the bed and somebody leaned in, pulled your covers off, and started trying to get your underwear off, what do you think would happen for you?
I think I'd be a little bit distressed, Teepa. Yeah, definitely.
What do you mean I'm weird?
In the nicest way possible, Teepa. Yeah.
When I say to you, so tell me what you still like about the person you're working with. And they realize, I don't.
But that must be a very hard thing to confront for family.
Yeah, what are you doing? That's not, you know better than that. And it's like, well, if I knew better than that, I wouldn't be doing it, would I?
Why isn't every carer taught this? Why isn't every caregiver utilizing it?
I mean, isn't this common practice?
If you are caring for someone else, whether paid or unpaid, and no matter how many hours you do it, did you realise that you may be missing out on thousands of pounds of discounts for things that you may use every day? The Able to Care podcast is proud to be sponsored by the UK's #1 carers card. Started by two best friends who recognise that carers deserve better and are 100% committed to helping to change the lives of all carers and bringing them together as a strong community. Carers Card UK provides support, recognition and rewards. It offers reassurance by providing an ID card that helps access emergency information when needed, while also unlocking discounts, a wellbeing hub, a carers circle tool and a community through their app. All of this for less than the price of a box of chocolates a year. There are discounts on gym membership, days out, electrical goods, clothing and even glasses. Let others know you care while taking a little care of yourself with an ID card you can be proud of. Visit carerscarduk.co.uk/promo code/able to care today to order yours. Hello and welcome to the Able to Care podcast. Today, we are honoured to have a truly inspirational guest, Teepa Snow. Teepa is an internationally renowned dementia care expert with decades of experience as an occupational therapist and educator. Teepa's positive approach to care model focuses on meeting people where they are in their journey, especially during times of distress or confusion. Her compassionate approach is a beacon for caregivers, professionals and families alike, helping them navigate the complex and often challenging world of dementia care with empathy and insight. From a personal perspective, I came across Teepa's work on YouTube and found not only her approach to understanding those living with dementia inspirational, but also her skills as an educator and speaker and ability to connect and engage with the audience have actually inspired aspects of my own teaching as a result. So Teepa, first off, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. It's so fun to talk with folks, and it's always fun to talk to folks across the pond. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you very much for joining us. Not too early in the morning for you, but you've told me already that you were up doing yoga at 6 a.m. and it's about 9:30
I got my
there.
yoga done. Yeah.
Absolutely. So you're full of energy and ready to go and tell us all about a multitude of different things. So hopefully. So yeah, I came across you on YouTube.
I breathe out in those moments of like, there's so much to get done. Because if you don't breathe out, you can't get anything done because you're just holding on to stuff you don't need. So.
Absolutely. Well, when I found out I was going to be doing this interview and you'd agreed to it, my brain was whirring and I kept asking some of the people I work with, like, what should I talk to her about? There's so much. So we're focusing in a little bit. We're going to focus in on kind of looking at responding to distress behaviours and stuff, because that's something that's going to really resonate with a lot of our audience that they find challenging. But just before we jump into a few questions, I did want to ask you, because when I kind of researched a little bit about you, you've been through quite an interesting journey. I resonated because I wanted to be, when I was at school, I wanted to be a zoologist. That was what I wanted to be. Now I'm a behaviour specialist and stuff like that. So there was some mirroring, I thought. So you graduated as a zoologist.
I did, because my mother said, if you want to stay another semester, you're going to have to pay for yourself. And it's like, oh, okay, what have I got enough credits to graduate in? And I had been one of those Renaissance, I call it Renaissance, you couldn't make up my mind. So I had 5 different majors in college. I kept flipping. And so eventually it was like, what can you graduate? Okay, well, let me see what I can do. And it came that if I took 4 zoology classes and then took a health and phys ed class, I could graduate. And so that's what I did. I don't recommend it.
No, no. Seems like you chose something just to get through rather than you really loved.
Well, I mean, I love animals, I love plants, but like, oh, what was it? Genetics course and phylogeny recapitulates ontogeny core. I mean, it's like, who thought this was a good idea?
So what moved you into what you do now?
Mm, curiosity. I've always been super curious about human beings and how they work and how their brains work. Um, I mean, my sister, who was 10 years younger than I, developed a brain tumor when she was at age 3. So up till then, everything had been fine. And then suddenly she started developing a brain tumor that grew very rapidly. And so we learned a lot about how she changed very rapidly. And she was not supposed to survive. But unfortunately, or fortunately, they used a lot of radiation and some of it missed and hit the pituitary. So I learned a lot about developmental disabilities and all of that as a young kid. And my grandfather moved in with his particular type of brain changes that much later in life we found out came from dementia. That at the time we thought he was just getting old and eccentric and had problems with COPD.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, we just thought he had a breathing problem.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking back now, yeah, missed some signs there, didn't
Yeah, and
we?
my mom was not a good carer. And my mom was never meant to be a carer. She was meant to be a phys ed teacher, an artist, an exceptional craftsperson, but not a phys ed teacher, but not a carer
A
of any
caregiver.
sort.
Right. Okay. So what took you down that route then, and when did you start? Because obviously you've done your occupational therapy and stuff like that. So is that where you went into the geriatric world?
Yeah, well, so interestingly enough, I actually didn't start off. I was actually going to be a teacher of special ed. And then when I got into that a little bit, it was like, yeah, actually, I think I'd like to do something different. And it turned out I was working with a young woman, a kid with cerebral palsy, and had some language deficit and had mobility problems. And they had an occupational therapist coming and working with her. And she said, well, they're opening a program at UNC. You should think about going. And it was like, cool, sounds like fun. I'll give it a try. And this would never work now, but I was in the very first class and graduated first in my class. Um, and so that ever since then, I was curious about strokes and head injuries and dementia and aging and developmental disabilities. So I've always done that sort of thing, but in a whole variety of different ways.
Where do because you're now, I say your YouTube, you've got your website, you're now internationally known. I'm sure that's not something you ever expected when you first
No.
started your journey. So it's kind of, yeah, you've definitely expanded out as far as what you do. And also, I think you've got such an amazing, unique teaching style
Mm.
that really engages, especially with those who provide care. That many of them being more kinesthetic in the way they kind of pick up information. You really do kind of
What
connect
do
with
you
them.
mean I'm weird? Is that what you're saying? There's something wrong
I
with
mean,
me?
in the
Is
nicest
that
way
what you
possible,
said?
Teepa. Yeah, yeah.
No, that is I heard what you okay, so what I just did is that
Yeah,
spontaneous
yeah.
sort of moment where we take where you thought we were going, and I
Hmm.
transition us over into content,
Yeah.
in a way that's sort of fun and interesting, and I call that a substitution, not a subtraction,
Mm.
and it gets you engaged, and now it's like, "So, Andy, you did not mean to insult me, did you?"
Of course I didn't. I apologize
You didn't.
profusely if I
Of course
did.
you did. Your word unique and my understanding of the word unique in that moment didn't didn't quite match. And instead of feeling
Mm.
supported by you, I felt confronted like you were saying something bad. So, hmm, I'm wondering what we could do about that.
Well, I start off with an apology and change the wording that I use.
So this
Do my
is
best
that
to.
moment where
Yeah.
acknowledging, wow, I'm really dissatisfied with what you just but and then you have to say, here's but I didn't
Mm.
say I don't understand.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I hear you. But that's not the answer that Teepa needs right now. Try
Yeah.
this. Say, wow, Teepa, I insulted you and I didn't even mean to. I am so sorry. Try that, Andy, and see what happens.
It seems like I insulted you, Teepa, and I didn't mean to do that. I'm so sorry.
Well, I mean, you just need to be careful about what you say about people. That's what I'm saying.
I will do my very best next time.
All right. Well, it's about time you shape up. Now, what that means is we just got to cover some content in sort of a fun way. You all got to see us and hear us do it. Andy was willing to do it, which meant I got his agreement to participate. And what we just covered is a really important aspect of when something's going wrong and there's distress, acknowledging both of us enter distress. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's not just the person with the brain change, because all of a sudden your brain went, What? What are you talking about? I didn't do that. And the automatic, reflexive pullback and saying, Wait a minute. And it's like, you can do that. It's called a reaction. It's a very primitive brain thing, but it doesn't help the situation. So you got to choose. You get to choose because you're the one with the brain that's supposed to be functioning a little bit better here. You got to choose, like, wow, that was a surprise. Didn't expect that.
And that's one of the challenges, isn't it? That sudden shift of I say something that I consider completely innocuous, you've suddenly then taken that as a trigger into distress for yourself, which then puts me on the back foot, puts me in a defensive state as well. And I think that's one of the challenges. Yeah. And I think the instinct is to be defensive and kind of, "Oh, I need to defend myself now. I didn't mean it that way." Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. And so it includes things like when we think we know where somebody's brain is functioning and where it isn't, we could be making mistakes about visual intake or auditory intake or even sensory intake. And so I've said to you, hey, Andy, I'm going to help you with your mouth care. Here, let me open your mouth. Let me get the toothbrush in. And you can think in that moment, yeah, that'll be okay. I mean, I get it. And then when the toothbrush hits your mouth, all of a sudden, your primitive brain turns on and you go, and it's like, whoa, wow, both of us got surprised. So it's super important that I remember in that moment, wow, I just surprised Andy too, because Andy didn't realize it was going to impact him that way. And instead of getting huffy, I go, wow, that was too much. Now, Andy, did you notice what I did with my body there?
Turn slightly to the side. Yeah.
I
To show
did.
non-aggression. Yeah.
You got it. Yeah. And I actually used my hands. I said, that was not okay. I'm showing you both hands, by the way, right in your center field of vision. Look, there they are. They're not doing anything to you now. I've actually gotten rid of the prop because, boy, that did not work like I expected. Hmm. And then this is where I've also developed some other techniques based on years of experience called hand under hand. So I take your hand with my hand to your mouth with the toothbrush because it gives your brain more data coming
Mm,
in about what's about to happen. My hand is coming to my mouth. Oh, something's going to come in my mouth. And if I go and I
yeah.
do this on my face,
Mm,
then you get the better idea of what we're looking at, and there's a reduced intensity, hopefully. And if it still happens, then I got to pause again and go, his teeth are super sensitive. Huh,
mm.
I got a new curiosity here. What might my curiosity be then, Andy? Hmm, teeth
Yeah.
are super sensitive.
Yeah. My
Huh.
dentures are right. Have I got any tooth pain? Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's one of the things you underpin in a lot of what you do, isn't it? It's kind of
Mhm.
the emphasis on being I think I got this phrase from you. I'm pretty sure I did, and I use it a lot. Being a better detective than judge.
I
I'm
mean, I
sure
really
that's one of
admire
yours.
Sherlock Holmes
Yeah. You
because,
need
I
to.
mean, when you've eliminated all the other, then that becomes the thing. And it's like, Andy's never been like this before. Andy's not somebody who's usually like trying to strike out. So something that just happened here did not work for Andy. It surprised him actually, and it caused a
Mm,
reaction in him. Huh.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. That's it. And causing you to be curious and fascinated, not frustrated.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
being willing to own, gosh, wonder what part I played in that. Um, hmm.
Yeah.
I thought I was just being helpful, but Andy's reaction says that was not helpful. That was not care. That was either really becoming what he thought of as abusive or aggressive. And I just thought I was doing care. And recognizing, wow, we got two different points of view going on here now. Hmm.
Mm.
Hmm.
Do you think that's something that people find really difficult though? Because I think there's an element of of trying to make sure you don't personalize, as far as it is about you, but it's not because you've done anything wrong. And it's kind of that separation of the kind of like, it's not because I'm bad, but I've just made a mistake. I didn't know about a mistake, but that takes a
Wouldn't
bit
be a
of,
mistake. Like if I had done it like a year ago with you, it wouldn't have been a mistake. I could have done it. Oh, I could have gotten away with it. Because a year ago, your brain was more capable. But a year ago, you didn't need my help with mouse care because a year ago, you could do it on your own. It's only recently that I'm noticing you're not doing it that way. And you know what? We didn't get used to each other when we could. We never practiced and rehearsed something. We never even talked about it. We never even thought there'll come a time because of the brain change where I'm going to be doing intimate things. I wonder if we should start thinking and figuring that out before we get to that place of yikes, we're here. Um, and I don't know how you're going to react to that because I haven't done any of it. And you don't know how you're going to react to it because you haven't done any of it. And that's where I find training and teaching for the future before we get to crises makes such a difference. Oh, my heavens.
well, that's where I suppose that's your gems model comes into play at that point, doesn't it? As far as understanding the kind of the journey that individuals with dementia sort of go through. So that's something you do as far as training families and training individuals to kind of know what's coming and how to then manage it through the different steps.
Yeah, and the tricky part for us is we also, I mean, we've been around long enough with it that we actually accept, my brain goes through these gem states every day, and it's well for me that it happens. Every night I enter a pearl state, which is super important for recovery and healing. And I don't pay attention to the world around. It's called sleeping, and it's great that I do it. Um, I don't want my world being real busy or distressing at night. So if somebody came into my room in the middle of the night when I was in my sleep state and started trying to get my pants off with you, Andy, you were in the bed and somebody leaned in, pulled your covers off, and started trying to get your underwear off, what do you think would happen for you? Just out of curiosity.
I think I'd be a little bit distressed, Teepa. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, I
I
mean,
find
if you
that a
thought
little,
you were in, I mean, if you were in a relationship, you might go, "Ooh,"
yeah,
but
good. Yeah,
otherwise, I'm pretty sure it would be that moment of like, "Whoa."
yeah.
So yeah, if that would happen to me, is it just because of your dementia then that reaction might happen for someone? Or is it preliminary? It's under there anyway. And if we aren't careful, I could trigger it in you, not meaning to, but I'm trying to be helpful. But I've forgotten the part about you're unaware of the world around you in that moment. And suddenly there's something happening to your shell, and your brain goes, wait a minute. And that's what we call that pearl state. And then you're going to come out, but you aren't impaired. You're not like contracted and just barely can move. You have full out. So that gets really risky for both, or dangerous for both of us. Um, so so this gem thing, the gem state idea is like this is not a staging of dementia. It's how our brains work. In fact, every single day of our lives, we fade in, we go out. We are all sensory driven. When I'm thirsty, trust me, I either reaching for this or that
Yeah. Yeah.
spontaneously, and I'm looking and I know it's on my table and it's mine. But if I had visual impairment, I might reach for yours. And in that moment, what do you do if I reach for your glass and I start to drink out of your glass without thinking? What would you do?
Yeah, well, that's where I might want to snatch it back or take it from you or shout at you or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, Andy. So try this. Go, oh, hey, Teepa.
Oh, hey, Teepa,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
You're taking a drink. Here. So that idea. Oh, now see, you wanted to go though to what are you doing? And it's like, well, I'm taking a drink. I
Yeah.
go right back to it.
Which is fair
The
enough,
tricky
isn't it?
part is
Yeah.
not
Well,
drawing
yeah.
my attention to what I'm doing,
So
but
would your
saying,
suggestion
oh,
there be raising awareness, just getting your attention and then just offering you a drink that would be yours?
it is mine. Yes, go
Yeah.
here. I think this one's yours.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Here you go. That
Yeah.
idea that we all make mistakes in
Mm,
understanding the world around us, and we just like, and
yeah.
it's so easy to get into that as a carer. Because I mean, it's like, geez, oh no, 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 no. But that's probably one of the riskiest things you can do,
I suppose
frankly.
if you put it into a context as far as if that was your friend that was just accidentally drinking from the wrong drink, you would just go, "Hey, what are you doing? This one's yours," and just pass it over. But it's that sometimes. Do you think there's a risk for many caregivers, whether that be family members or whether it be professional caregivers, they fall into the trap of infantilizing a little bit and almost going into a I need to correct the child. Mm,
Naughty, naughty. Yeah, what are you doing?
yeah,
That's naughty. You know better than that. And it's like, well, if I knew better than that, I wouldn't be doing it, would I?
yeah, yeah,
It just if I knew it wasn't my drink, why would I be drinking it? I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
yeah.
So either I don't know it's not my drink or I'm so thirsty I don't care. And it's like,
Mm,
wow, both of those are important to notice because it means, wow, maybe I let this go too long as a carer and didn't introduce the drink soon enough to where I could actually offer you the cup that's yours and
yeah,
not actually have it be an accident then.
yeah. You obviously have years of experience have helped you to kind of develop these strategies. Did they all come from just your experience and what you've learned? Have you gained that information from elsewhere or?
I'm always super curious. So if ever I have an opportunity, I'll try to find out about the other person and find out their experience and then show me how you do that. Tell me, here, let's try this. And sort of let's see how it feels. What does it feel like? Oh, wow, that was really different. Let's try it again. Let me switch out a little bit. So I'm into let's collaborate. I believe in the art of collaboration because I believe each human being's experience is what they've experienced. And so until we can sort of like figure out that, it's almost like, like rubbing it all together and putting it all together and go, oh, I think we've got something here. And then from now on, it's ours. I mean, it's a shared thing that we have. And I think that's where people get so invested in a specific direction of travel or a word. I mean, I use the word hey because if you say hey, Andy, try saying hey.
Hey,
What happens to your mouth when you say hey?
uh, well, I smiled on that one. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
So try hi,
Hi. Yeah, it
try
tends to be
hello.
lower. Hello.
Yeah.
Mm.
I
I
mean,
suppose
it's sort of like,
even
uh,
hello, I suppose is still a little bit more forced, but yeah, hey is quite
yeah.
upbeat. Definitely.
But I could also get it with just Andy
Yeah.
because I've
Teepa.
demonstrated with my voice and my body that I am so excited to see you if I know your
Mm.
name. Well, look who's here. Wow.
You do a lot of that as far as you utilize your body language an awful lot in what you do. I know whenever you're demonstrating to those you're teaching, but I know that's the actual approach that they should be employing as well, making it big with the gestures and the body language to kind of engage visually with the individual. What are the biggest mistakes you see or have come across related to people's approaches, especially around distress behaviors? Oh,
So,
that.
Andy, are you listening?
Yeah,
Getting too close and then
yeah,
trying to talk to someone.
yeah,
I mean, some of the things we tell people, you have to get right in front of somebody. It's like, yeah, but don't lean in.
yeah.
Like get in front and then realize you are part of what you want to share, but you could share something else if I put this here
Mm, yeah.
and I might keep the picture, I might lose the picture depending on what my goal for the interaction is.
Mm,
Because this picture could actually be distracting to
mm,
someone. And I don't want a distraction, but I do want to attract people to things.
mm,
So I might say, oh, Andy, I'm wondering, come with me. I want to ask you something. And
mm,
that simple cueing, ooh, I'm wondering. And then I'd give
mm,
a gesture cue. So I think the idea that we use our bodies more and our words less because of the changes in the brain, we're more likely to get what we're looking for to happen and less
mm.
likely to butt heads with someone with misunderstanding.
Yeah. You use your facial expressions, as you just mentioned there as
Mhm.
well, as a big part of it. Do you think is it important to kind of almost overemphasize that, especially depending on where a person is through their journey?
Yeah, because sometimes, wow. Huh. Now, what did I get you to do without all I did was, huh, and mm.
Mm.
Have you paused?
Yes,
Are
absolutely.
you getting curious?
Yes. Yeah.
Have I said anything other than, huh?
Mm.
When I turn, you are so focused on me.
Yeah.
And so my facial expressions, ooh, and you want to know what's going to come next, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely builds up that anticipation.
Yeah. So rather than anticipatory distress, I've got you anticipatory engagement. So you're anticipating we're going to do something together and you're going to be interested in it. Um, Now, if I like, um, Andy, this, we're going to do this thing. I need your help. Why lie? I know that taking blood pressures for you is uncomfortable. It hurts. You don't like it. I'm going to go ahead and let you know what I'm going to do. Pretty obvious. And then how you're probably going to feel about it. Then I ask you for your help
Yeah.
because I'd rather get into this situation knowing how you're reacting to it than hoping that I can trick you into doing something. I mean, I'm not going to count on it. You're a smart guy. After we do it a few times, no, I'm not doing that. And it's like, I hear you. You don't want to do it. I hate doing it too. It hurts.
So you're almost handling the objection before the objection comes. You're kind of creating the connection with empathy before it's needed to let the person know in advance, I suppose, that you know
You're
what they're
not
about
going
to
to
go
like
through.
this. I know you're not. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat something that's uncomfortable because then I surprise you and we get a bad outcome. It's like, oh, okay, let's get through this. And then we're going to, you know what? We're going to go get something hot to drink.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's just get it over with.
Have you ever encountered an adult or child's behaviour that has felt difficult, overwhelming, or challenging? Have you sometimes felt at a loss of what to do, or know that you didn't handle it quite right? People are complex and unpredictable, and their behaviour can be like the weather. We've all made the mistake of looking out the window and feeling safe to wear shorts, but 5 minutes later wishing for an umbrella. What if, like a weatherman, you understood how humidity, temperature and pressure all come together to cause the weather, allowing you to better prepare, predict and respond and prevent ever having a picnic ruined by a thunderstorm ever again? My book, called Targeting the Positive with Behaviours that Challenge, helps you to become the weatherman of behaviour. It provides you with a toolkit to increase competency, confidence, resilience and empathy, so you feel more assured about how to respond to distressed or dysregulated behaviours in others, including those affected by trauma, mental health, neurodiversity, learning disabilities or dementia. Build better connections, achieve de-escalation and improve outcomes for yourself and those you engage with my celebrated 6-stage target model, a step-by-step process to reduce distress for everyone. Discover my empowering, person-centered guide in Targeting the Positive, written by me, Andy Baker, available from online bookstores worldwide. Find a link in the description and order today. So I'd like to ask you about the hand under hand thing, if that's all right, because it's such a simple tool, and I think it should be just foundational as far as why isn't every carer taught this? Why isn't every caregiver utilizing it? Because it really does make a difference.
I mean, the really weird part is we know human beings really do when they hold hands, something changes for them. We know when we make hand contact with another human being, we really acknowledge and recognize, and we actually connect our neurological systems for a second. So if I were to give you that experience through the palm of your hand, which is the better part of your hand to engage with, why wouldn't it have impact? And I just found it. remarkable that people didn't do it already. So I was like looking through things when I first started practice. I thought, surely this is a practice. And it's like, no, what we did is hand over hand. We put our hand over their hand and try to make them do things. And it was like, yeah. I mean, that when there's no sensation in your hand, you can get away with it like a stroke, but or a head injury. But I found as soon as sensation they started, there's this reflexive pattern called withdrawal and get rid of. And it's like, okay, well, I don't want that. And our hands together, I'm pulling on so many pathways into your brain and into your movement patterns that your brain has this procedural memory. And it was so like, surely other people are doing this. And it's like, no, they were complaining about people not liking what they were doing, and they couldn't seem to wrap their head around, well, it's your hand coming to their face. That's not a familiar thing. But I mean, I'm just trying to help him. And it's like, I get it, but they don't. I mean, that's what I'm observing. So here, let me try it with you. And so for me, I'm wondering if one of the training things that gets in people's ways, Andy, is people don't like to be touched as a trainer. They like to be up at the front of the room doing a lecture, and it's like, well, that's not what dementia is about. That's really not. And so in my care, we're gonna have to be intimate. So let's try touching each other and see how you feel about it. And it's like, oh, I don't like it. It's like, and if I limit your vision, oh, I really don't like it. And it's like, "Hmm, okay, well, let's try something." And then I'll have them do it on the left or on the right. And it's like, oh, it's a big difference when it's the dominant hand that you're using. It's like, yep, sure enough, it is, isn't it? And so suddenly we can start to recognize our own role in things without realizing, oh, it's like, oh, well, that doesn't feel good. And it's like, yep. But I mean, I agree with you. I was like, well, this should be, I mean, isn't this common practice? And it was like, nope.
No, and I do find it odd. I do have to say, because I say the group of trainers that we have, we've all seen your work, read your work. Some of them have met you as well, and yeah, all value it and appreciate it. So it's very strange to then go out and kind of be engaging with people, and they have no idea. So yeah,
It's so remarkably and people who do it, and then it's like, you wouldn't believe it. She had I could get her she took a bite and she said, "Oh, this actually tastes good." And it's like she didn't fight with me. It's like, isn't that remarkable what we can do when we're with the person and instead of doing to the person? And it's like, yeah. And it just gets our brains to like let go of this me versus you and we become us. I mean, we're in this together. We're trying so hard together. Let's figure it out, shall we?
I think you've already referred to that in yourself and your kind of approach to things, that collaborative nature of, and I think
Mhm,
it's so maybe it is so counterintuitive from normal
mhm.
day-to-day practice because the instinct for many of us when we deal with somebody in a state of distress or unless it is upset, I think people can cope with upset, but if there is any level of agitation, anger, frustration, the instinct is confront. Confront and do battle with rather
Or
than kind
Andy,
of
I need you to calm down now. Okay, that's getting
mhm.
out of control. Calm down. Where it's okay now. It's okay. All I'm going to do is change your brief. It's okay. It'll be
Yes.
okay. Come on, let's just. It's
Not
okay.
okay. It's not okay, but Teepa.
Don't
I
deny
don't want
me from
my
here. It's like, who are you to tell me it's okay?
Yeah.
Just. All right. I tell you what. Then I'll take your pants off and we'll see how that goes. Just it
Absolutely.
is funny, but it's not. I mean, in those
No.
moments, we have no visual regard for the bigger picture when we're in those moments. I've had them. That's how I got here. It's like
Mm,
I've been in those situations where it's like, Teepa, just stop. Why don't you? It's not working. And it's
yeah.
like, yeah, sure isn't. They're really ticked. It's like, you're really ticked off. And it's
Yeah.
like, yeah. And it's like, oh, well, I didn't mean for that to happen. Well, then you shouldn't have.
Mm,
I mean, and, whether it's with words or without, suddenly it was like, yep, yep, pushed the boundary too far, didn't I?
yeah. And I suppose maybe that's the human instinct, isn't it? It's similar to when
Mhm.
um, we can mention it in a second, but the nature of humans is when a force is exerted on us, our instinct is to push against. So if we're
It-
pulled, we lean backwards. If we're pushed, we lean forwards. And that's the same maybe with emotional connection as well when somebody's kind of pushing. So I noticed even just in the podcast here, and hopefully people will go on YouTube and watch you as well as just listen as well. But like the way you turn your body to the side, the way you communicate, everything's about aligning. It's all about kind of stepping with them to look at the problem as a pair, as a collaboration, rather than to be a me versus you scenario. You're a
Not
problem
a
to
fixer.
solve.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's where it's a little different than Sherlock Holmes because he was always like, I've got the brilliance. And it's like, I don't. I observe very well. And then I get curious. And I think that's what I like. But then to figure out, we've got to figure this out together. I mean, the recognition that me figuring it out on my own isn't going to solve the problem. We've got to be in this together. We've got to come to an agreement, a negotiation, an appreciation for what's happening. And it may mean I don't get everything I want out of this, and neither do you. I mean, so you get you get clean, but you don't get as clean as I'd like to get you, because that's just not in the cards right now. I'm not going to get it done right now. I mean, whatever that it was, it's not going to happen right now because the relationship to me is the thing I've got to preserve because I'll get another chance if I keep a relationship. If I blow the relationship, um, it's really going to come back to haunt me the next time I want to do something. And people remember that they don't like us or they do like us. They don't remember the why sometimes, but that feeling is there. And I don't want to engender it in someone.
And I think that's a common misunderstanding, isn't it? When people are thinking about dementia, the usual hierarchy of thought process is dementia, Alzheimer's, memory loss. So then people go, it's okay because they don't remember anyway. But
They
as you
won't
very
remember it.
rightly
They're
mentioned,
so
they remember the feelings, they just don't remember
yeah.
the
Details.
context and things
And
like that.
sometimes
Yeah.
with certain dementias that aren't Alzheimer's, they can make up a story to go with it. It's called confabulation. And it's like, it's really real. And it's like, well, that's not what happened. It's like, doesn't matter what you think. That's what their brain says. And learning new things is still possible. I think there's this feeling that people can't learn. It's like, oh, they learn all the time. Um, and they can really learn they don't like you. So please don't poison the well before you ask me to help. It's so much easier if you haven't poisoned the well when I come in. It makes it so hard. I wouldn't meet him without you if you've already gotten him upset with you.
Yeah, 100%. And it's that you're starting off on a back foot. You're starting off on a having to overcome that first, meaning having to work 10 times harder. And I think that's from maybe one of the early YouTube videos when my mum was supporting my gran living with dementia. And I remembered a lesson that you taught in one of your videos or something like that, talking about family caregivers. If you're in a bad place, if you're struggling on that day, don't go. Don't go down, find somebody else. And I remember telling them to mum, she was saying, I've got this to do, I've got this to do, and I still got to go and see your gran. It's like, well, today's not the day for you to go then, because you're in a grump, you're in a bad mood. You'll just fall out with her. You'll drive away feeling that immense amount of guilt and shame. And you just affected the relationship as a result of that. Is that something that you find still is impacts on people? Is that something that
Super
people find really
important. If
hard?
I'm walking into the relationship, and even for non-family, for paid
Mm,
carers, I'm walking into the relation thinking, oh God, I've got Andy today.
yeah.
He's so hard to work with, man. I mean, I know he's going to smell bad. He hasn't done his shower. He'll tell me he did. Oh, man, this is so hard. Hey, Andy. All
Yeah.
right. I mean, and it's like, or I come in, hey, Andy, it's
Yeah.
Teepa.
Mm.
Are you ready for, we'll have some fun, okay?
Yeah. I see. It's correcting
Yeah.
it before you walk in, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
People
really turning yourself around and going, oh, hey, Andy, it's Teepa.
mm.
Listen, there was something I wanted to ask you about. Let me think. Ooh, fishing. Now, do you know anything about fishing? Because I know almost nothing. You know
Mm.
anything?
I actually know I probably know less than nothing on fishing, Teepa, but but yeah,
But do
I
you
get
know
the
what
idea.
kind of fish you like to eat?
Oh yeah, I do like a little bit of cod. Yeah.
Cod. Oh,
Mm.
I love salmon, but you're cod,
Mm.
eh?
Mm. Yeah. Don't
Okay.
like don't
Well,
like
you know
salmon.
what? Not salmon at all.
No.
We've got some fish. and I could sure use some help here in the kitchen because I'm not so sure about cod. Come on, let's see what we can figure out here.
Hmm.
Now, my ultimate goal for coming in was to get you to wash your hands as a start.
Hmm.
Now, how far up the road did I back, Andy?
To giving washing your hands a purpose. 100%. Yes. That's all the way back. Mm.
I mean, I backed up a lot because I need to get myself in a good place and we
Mm.
can find some common ground. And then I actually have a purpose for what we're doing, but I've got to pause and realize, man, if I just walk in with, I've got to get Andy to wash his hands. And he always gives me such a hard time about this.
Mm.
And that's my attitude and my belief coming in. And I start at the hard spot. Wow, there's no way I'm getting up that hill. I mean,
Mm.
I've got to take a running start at it, like, you know what? Let's wash our hands up. So, because I don't, like, here, oh, guy, you got egg on it. Here, let's rinse them off. And I'll have you washing your hands 5, 6 times, which is getting you used to the water running on your hands. And I'll say, you know what? I just noticed something. You got something like right along your jawline. Here, let me give you a washcloth. See if you can get it off.
Mm.
And now we're moving into something else. But I've got to be super supportive of who you are, where you are, what you're doing. But we've got to back up and quit just being so task driven and
Mm.
figure out like I want to actually have a relationship with you that I learn about you. We figure this out, we work it through. There's going to be some hard stuff ahead. There's going to be some fun stuff if we work this right.
Yeah. I like that. Again, it's going back to the kind of basic principles that is connection before solution. It's just focus on building a rapport. Don't go in with the task. Focus on connecting with the person. And even if I always say with that as well, if you end up not managing to get the task done, at least you can walk away going, but they had a nice connection, and that's
Yeah,
still
I
a,
can say,
a
you know
win-win.
what, Andy? Thank you for trying. I can't ask for any more than that. That was
Yeah,
probably one of the most trying episodes we've had together. But thank you for sticking with me.
yeah,
Can I have a hug before I go?
yeah. Nice.
Because one of the last things I can do is give you deep pressure proprioception and say,
Mm.
you worked really hard and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And then release. And we all, well, I think most people know deep pressure proprioception is calming. It brings the human being back and it causes you to breathe.
Mm. Is that important for both parties then, you think? Is that because that's one of the real challenges as well, isn't it? That whether you are a paid or an unpaid caregiver, working with distressed behaviors, repetitive behaviors and things like that is really challenging. It's hard.
And if I can't find something I like in the human being I'm working with, that's that's a red flag for me. When I say to you, so tell me what you still like about the person you're working with. And there's a long pause. And this is where family members will often say, well, I love him and I promised I'd always take care. And it's like, I know you do, or you wouldn't be doing it. But that's not what I asked. I asked what you like. Because it turns out humans need like every day for well-being. And if you say, well, what is there to like? I mean, that's not my husband anymore. That's not, I mean, it's hard. This is really hard. And I say, I know it's hard. What do you still like? And when the answer is, I don't know, it's definitely time. Pause, take a time out, break, send someone else. I mean, we need something there to give some space so I can sort of figure out what do I like. Because if I can't find a like thing, oh, this is very, very risky for both of us. Because I'm going into it not liking.
That's really important. Yeah. I've made a note of that, Teepa, because that needs that's an important
I mean, it's
point
one of my
there, I
early
think.
questions with care is tell me what you still like about, what you like about your person. And there's usually a pause, a little bit of a pause. It's like people don't ask people that. It's like, I think it's super important. What do you like?
Well, it's a reminder. It's so easy to get caught in the negative interactions. I teach an awful lot about human beings. We are negatively focused. Instinctively, we're negatively focused. We're more likely to catch the mistakes than we are the correct. So again, it's forcing that mindset, isn't it? As far as finding the bit. What do you still value? What do you still appreciate? What do you still enjoy? But that must be a very hard thing to confront for for family, particularly. As you said, it's sometimes they're sticking with it for duty.
Usually it results in distress because it's the first time somebody's asked them, "What do you still like?" And they realize, "I don't." And it's like, wow, that's a really hard place to be. And I acknowledge it's really hard and yet you keep doing it. But let's pause for a second and let's figure this out. Because I think we give very short shrift to the idea that family members are not called to the mission of providing support and care to someone. They love somebody and they get into this sort of sideways and they feel like at first it's not that bad, it's okay, it'll work out. And then it gets harder and harder. And without backup and training and support, I mean, they're trapped. They're trapped into this, or they feel abandoned. Um, and that's not safe. It's just not safe. It's not okay. We don't need another generation of this. We've been doing this for generations, frankly, and it's time to stop it and say, "Come on, let's figure this out. Let's come together. Let's figure out how we can get through this together. Let's quit hiding."
Yeah. I was speaking to somebody earlier today about she works as a therapist working an awful lot with caregivers and stuff. And one of the things she promotes is trying to find people having that opportunity to continue to be the daughter, the
Mhm.
husband, rather than falling into the I'm now the carer,
Yeah.
which is a big
I
thing.
mean,
Yeah.
it gets to a point where you can't be both. I mean,
Yeah.
the loads are so heavy that it's like, I'm either going to switch and I'm just going to be your carer and I'm going to
Yeah.
see it as a caring and, or I'm going
Like
to
a
stay your
protect.
daughter
Yeah.
and I'm going to let go of the caring because to be your daughter, I don't want to cross those boundaries. That those
Mm,
boundaries are really painful for both of us or for you or for me. And I've got to acknowledge, wow, we need to switch out here. I need a third party. And I
mm.
talk a lot about getting a third party just for well-being of everybody. Because we were never meant to care for another human being 24/7. I mean,
No. Yeah.
I mean, kids grow up for a reason. I mean, if
Yeah.
they stayed kids forever, I'm not sure what we'd do. I mean,
And it's very difficult to then suddenly, as a parent, be parented by your own children at that point
yeah.
as well. Yeah,
I mean, it's
nobody
hard
nobody
on both
understands.
sides. People don't realize it's like, who do you think you are? It's coming
Yeah.
from a place of like, I mean, I remember saying that when my kids were little, and it's like, what are you doing?
Hmm.
When they were doing something and they would get that, "Hmm, she
Yeah.
caught me." But there's a difference when I'm making a cake and it's like, aha, out of mud and flour, and
Hmm.
there is a trail from the cabinet, and I had no idea that you were going to do that. And we
Hmm.
will find those same moments, but there's some, I mean, we got to find humor.
Yeah.
You've got to go, didn't expect that.
Mm. Yeah. And that's it. I suppose it's easy to look back sometimes in hindsight. I know many family members or many caregivers that they have some wonderful anecdotes and wonderful stories that when they're looking back, going, that was really funny. In that moment, it's a challenge
And you see
sometimes for
something in
people.
the cuckoo clock and you realize what it is, and you're going to have to clean it out.
Yeah.
It's like, in that moment, you're giving yourself that pause and going, wow, I would never have thought of doing. You still got creativity.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Still like to challenge you. Yeah. It's a hiding spot. So what would you say through all your experience is have you got a certain like the main categories or the main kind of types of behavior that do people do seem to keep coming back to all the time that they find most difficult to deal with?
Well, how do you get a body clean is a very popular one. Bathing, showering, like how do you get a mouth clean? Grooming, mouth care, denture care, those kinds of things. So intimate care kind of situations, control situations, driving, using public transport, going out, going places. What I want, what I choose, like who's in control. Then there's relationship challenges, like having relationships that aren't safe or having relationships with people that yikes. I mean, that's so it's risky. There's fraud, there's risk for fraud, there's risk for abuse. Um, then I would say concern about ability state versus what my thinking about my ability state is a mismatch. So I'm thinking I'm more capable than I am, or I'm thinking I'm less capable than I am. So I have learned helplessness, or I have anosognosia, the inability, I'm not aware. And so those risks are real in both directions of premature loss or me doing things that are actually dangerous and not realizing. Um, and then finally, I'd say public kinds of things. Like I'm in a space where I'm doing something that shouldn't be done in that space typically, or I'm in a private space and I'm not doing things that should be done in a private space. So it's a public private kind of phenomena. Um, so I think those are some of the major categories for me.
If we just come on to the risk taking or the learned helplessness kind of approaches, because they're two different sides of that same kind of coin, aren't they? Um, Obviously, do you encourage people to just follow the same route through? I suppose it's quite difficult in the early stages of illness as well, when the person does still have those uh, strong kind of "I know I can," and maybe you can't get the support of social services and things like that to go, we can't take that decision off them yet. How do you help people to overcome that?
This is really hard. What I'm asking you to do seems really hard. It seems unfair. And it is unfair because historically you've always been really good at this. And it doesn't even seem to make sense to you. So I'm asking you for a big favor. And I know what it is that I'm asking for. I'm asking you to let go of something you've always done. And I'm asking you for right now, let's pause and let's get this looked at a little carefully. Let's get a third party in here because I know what I'm saying isn't matching what you're thinking. So I'm, I'm going to ask for a pause and let's figure this out because I don't want to fight, but I also don't want to neglect something I think is important. So I'm asking for a favor.
I think hopefully people will just record that and then just play it to their loved one and just go, I've got a few words for you.
It's rehearsal.
Yeah, she says it better than me.
I mean, and the authenticity. I mean, I really have to believe. I truly believe you're like you've always been so skillful, and what I'm asking seems totally irrational, and I get it. And I'm so sorry. I hate doing it, but I am asking for the favor. And
That's
it could be I'm not the right person. I mean, I will
yeah.
also own sometimes I need to find someone else to do this because I am not a good match for it because our past, our history, our relationship is making it more awkward than it
Mm,
needs to be. Yeah.
yeah, too close, too confrontational in the nature of and things like that.
Sometimes
Yeah.
a grandkid can get away with something a kid can't get away with.
Well, my mum
So,
found that a
sometimes
lot.
pull the grandkid in.
Yeah, yeah. We still do that. I can do things with my dad that my sister can't, and
Yep,
things like that. Yeah, different from different people. 100%,
yep.
100%. So it's one. This is one of these where I could spend kind of absolutely all day talking to you and finding out. If people would like to find out more, where's the best place that they can reach you and find out more about TEEPA and the work that you do, both America and UK?
Yeah. So we definitely have a website, teepasnow.com. It's just my name because people were familiar with that.
Hmm.
No space. Or we have a YouTube channel. We have a Facebook page. We have TikTok. I mean, Instagram. I mean, we're in a variety of spaces because we know
Yeah.
different people seek things in different places and
Hmm.
podcasts
Yeah.
because we want to be present and available if possible when you need us. Because honestly, Andy, the number of people that said, I found you one night on YouTube and then I started binge watching, and it's like, oh,
Mm.
we need to, okay, let's pause there. But, that idea of I was in need and I was seeking. And I
Mm.
hear a lot of people in need seeking. And that's why you do your podcast and we do what we do, is because this should be more present and available. And it's still sort of a mystery for a lot of
Mm.
folks until they get stuck. And then they raise their hand and say, I think I need help. I know I need help. But, we're just not really skilled at preparing people for this still, is my
No.
opinion. I think we're still working on it.
Yeah, I think it is. our culture, particularly over maybe
Mhm.
more so over this side of the pond, is
Oh, no.
you know,
We're in the same
just as
boat.
bad,
Don't be
are you?
thinking you
Right,
aren't.
okay.
No, no.
We're very head in the snow. We don't want to think about death. We don't want to think about the end of life. We want to kind of just pretend it's never going to happen. But I think, unfortunately, services are a bit like that as well. So there isn't the signposting happening that they should be doing. You know, oh, you've got a diagnosis. Best of luck. See you later. And that's kind
Like,
of
okay,
it.
here's the number for the association or the society. Yeah, if you need help, you can go there. And it's like, wow, that's a big leap. I just left your office and you're wanting me to do what? I mean, I could use a little support and comfort right now. You just devastated me. And it's like, I don't know that you're right. Or I do know you're right. And now I need to go hide because I don't want everybody to know. I mean, not even being curious enough about the human being that was just in here to realize you just changed their life. You put them on the other side of a road here, and you're just going to drop them off. It's like it's not like a bus stop. This is like a life changing event for folks frequently. Um, it's not just an affirmation of, oh yeah, well there you go. Now we'll just keep going. It's not like, oh, you've got a spot on your nose. It's like, this is going to change things, and it's like, hmm, yeah, let's pause and let's take a moment. And so, how are you doing right now? I mean, you feeling like that, or like that? Because if you're feeling like that, mm, we probably don't quite get what's going on here yet.
I suppose that's understanding the kind of the cycle or the grieving cycle, isn't it? As far as the initial is going to be denial and then anger, bargaining and stuff. So just the walking out the office going, ask any questions, bye, is we need to check in with them maybe a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months,
Or a
because they're going to
week,
be a
even. I
difference.
mean, for some people, even a week later, it's like, so I know you were just in the office. Tell me a little bit about how you're doing this week. What have you done since then?
Hopefully with your work, your messages, I think I read somewhere as far as just improving practice by just changing one mind at a time, and that's all we can do at one point. And hopefully, like yourself, the voices get bigger and louder, and you pass it on to one, and they pass on to many, and things like that. So
It's a
from
ripple
me,
effect, and I'm hoping we got a waterfall going.
yeah, absolutely. Well, from me to you first of all, yeah, just thank you for the inspiration that you've definitely given me. And I know numerous, maybe I've got one of my team kind of in watching as well, because they kind of snuck in and watched because they're a big fan as well. They came to see you in Wales, I think, when you were over there. So yeah, so
Wales is one of our wonderful places. We love coming to Wales and playing in Wales. Although they did tell us they steal pens. I
they
mean, they
still what?
admitted it. They're
Still
pen
pens?
stealers. Oh, they're
Oh,
pen
okay.
thefts.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And so they say it. They say it out
Mm,
loud. They were we were at we were at the meeting and they were like, "Oh yeah, no, we steal pens." And it's like,
yeah.
"All right then, bring extra."
You just have to accept that. We give out pens on our courses, and yeah, they never come back. They never come back. I used to buy blue purposely because all carers had to write in black, so I often got blue pens back.
We
Now
did it.
we just went with it. We stopped fighting it.
Yeah, it's true. It's like, okay, so they pens are going to disappear. All right
Yeah,
then, we'll
yeah,
buy the less expensive kind.
yeah. Don't give them the nice ones. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Teepa. It really was appreciated.
Thank
And
you.
I know there was so much in that journey. I think it'll be one of those podcasts people will hopefully listen to a few times to kind of absorb everything. But yeah, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
So, for those of you watching or listening, if you found anything on today's episode useful, beneficial, please like, comment, and share the content out to others, especially as Teepa and I have just been mentioning there, the people who potentially need it but don't know they need it or don't know this information is out there for them. Please pass it on and share. Thank you. Let me ask you a question. Do you ever find the pressures of supporting, teaching, or caring for someone else overwhelming and wish you had access to more support and information? The Able to Care podcast, in connection with Able Training, has created the ablehub.uk, where for less than the price of a coffee a week, you can access exclusive podcast content, resources, events, and over 45 certified online courses, covering topics like self-care, understanding dementia, neurodiversity, first aid, conflict management, financial advice, and so much more, with new content and courses being added each month. We are so confident that you will benefit from the Able Hub that we are offering 14 days access completely free of charge. No contract, cancel anytime. Become part of the ablehub.uk community and gain the support, knowledge and resources you deserve. Don't struggle alone. Be able. Find the link in the description.